Hi gang, welcome back to the Unmissed Latina Ever. I want to wish you guys, all you fathers out there, a happy Father's Day. I know that it's a very special weekend for some fathers, and for other fathers, they might be forgotten, but for those that are forgotten, I have not forgotten about you. And I want to wish everybody a happy Father's Day because we all deserve to be remembered. Speaking of which, today's topic is going to be this upcoming election and remembering the people of Pinellas County. Do you know what Pinellas, or P, stands for? It's Place of the Old People. We are like the notorious place for retirees. And you know why that's very important? It's very important because these people happen to come here and entrust in government that their health care will be intact when they get elderly and old. And they don't realize when liberals spend all the money that they're going to be shortchanged in other areas. For example, when communist Russia took over the health care and gave everybody universal health care, it got so bad there because everything was relying on government instead of creating jobs that people were getting neglected. And food rationing happened, and dirty hypodermic needles happened. In fact, they didn't even, bother to sanitize or sterilize these needles, and they were using these dirty needles on people, and people were dying of things that could be prevented because of really bad hygiene. So when you go in to look at some of the Obamacare places, like I actually got roped into Obamacare, and I thought I would, go in with this one group. I forget the name of the Milena Healthcare. And it was so bad. It was in a very transient, derelict environment. I couldn't pick my doctor, so I had to go with whoever. And basically, it was just the conditions were filthy. The area of town was in a really bad area, and it took a month and a half for me to get in just to get one appointment. And every time I wanted to schedule something, it took 2 or 3 months down the line. So this is what socialized healthcare does when everything is going to be fair, and we're like billions of dollars in debt. So if we don't deal with the debt, and we don't deal with the border situation, we just let everybody that wants to come in, even the bad guys, into the country, and we just let everybody walk on us, so then we can't possibly keep going the way we're going. So what's going to happen? Well, they're going to kill off the old people. Shoot, you guys have already lived your life, you're up there and you're old, and say you want to have a heart transplant or your heart fixed or a pacemaker, they're going to say you're going to be old and you're dying anyway. You're too old for this. That's what they did to my grandmother, who had a broken hip, and she had to suffer with her broken hip because she was too old for that. My mom, because she had cancer in her background and she only had one lung, they said she was too old for a certain procedure, and they just let people die. In fact, I had lost 6 family members right after Obama took office, and it was really quickly and fast. And I do believe that the government has a say in whether you live or die, especially when they are controlling the purse strings to your health care. And so that's why it's really important to have competition, because if you only have one plan, you're basically screwed if something happens. So I wanted to give you guys some food for thought, because I really love old people and I love to see you around. I sometimes don't like your driving. It scares me. But what scares me worse than you old people driving are the young people looking at their stupid text phones. I was a victim of that one time, and the person wasn't looking where they were going, and they did quite a bit of damage. So what's worse than an old person driving and not knowing what's going on is a young person driving and looking down at their fucking phone. Oh, did I say fuck? Yes, I did. The texting and driving is a problem. We passed a law, but a lot of people don't obey the law. So what happens when you have a law and people don't obey the law? You have lots of Mexicans coming into the country illegally. They're getting on the subsidized health care. They're getting jobs. They're getting all these benefits that are supposed to be meant for old people and for young people alike, just people that are citizens, and people that are needing help won't get it because they're too busy helping other people coming in here illegally. That's a problem, because if they use it as a racial issue, then they're getting VIP treatment at their expenses of other races. So therefore that would be in itself racial, because I'm Puerto Rican, and I'm sure everybody else in this Pinellas County, you're all mixed up with Greek and Italian and German and English. Everybody is from somewhere, right? Because, you know, we have to come from somewhere to become Americans, right? So anyway, we're all mixed up. We're in a melting pot. This is America. Everybody's something. And so say, what if they said, you know, hey, you Greek people, you don't have to obey the laws. You could do whatever the fuck you want. And you know what? We're going to give you free everything. And you Greeks have a free pass. Well, now how would, like, maybe the English or the Russians or the Germans or other races feel towards those Greek people? They would say, hey, you Greek people, you're getting away with murder here, and all because you're Greek, you know, but they don't do that, okay? But I'm just saying, how would you Greek people feel like if, you know, maybe they did all this for the Russians? You know, maybe they gave all the Russians a free pass and said, hey, you Russians, you can come from Russia, and we will give you free this, free that, and you can get everything for free, but everybody else will have to pay double time for your free ass. Now you're seeing the racial part of it. So it's really important that we have the rules, because rules are, what are they for? Our protection. You know, say you have a homeowner's rules, you know, you have a documents, and it says, you know, you can't park a bunch of jalopies out front of your condo, because you know what, jalopies aren't allowed. You can't, like, change your oil in the parking lot, and they're doing this because they're keeping out the riffraff and all the dumbasses from, like, renting the condos. You're paying a fee. They bring in people to keep up the yard. Everything is uniform and nice and clean. And guess what? We don't have a bunch of old papers sitting in front of our doorstep like they do in St. Pete when I would canvass. They don't have, you know, this, like, crap all over the yard. They don't have grass that's 8 feet high and snakes. You know what? What happens if you don't cut your grass? You get snakes. And then guess what? Your neighbors get snakes. And guess what? When your little dog happens to run off and go into the neighbor's yard in that tall grass with the snakes, he may get bitten. So anyway, the rules are there to protect you, right? So say if we didn't have rules, what would happen? Well, I mean, we would be like one of those states like California, you know, where just, you know, people were sleeping underneath the highway underpasses, and they're bumming around. And you can't even drive under an underpass without, you know, smelling the smell of urine and fecal matter. I mean, that would be horrible. Can you imagine, like, bringing a guest from out of town and driving up to Anaheim to, like, go to Disney World or Disneyland or whatever, and having to like see that site there? And you know, here's the richest place of all, Hollywood. You know, people making millions of dollars, and then all of a sudden you see, you know, a lot of homeless people just lined up, you know, underneath bridges. And they're just, like, dirty and stinky and smoking pot and just polluting and shitting everywhere. It's like, it would be horrible. So anyway, you know, you wouldn't want that to come to, you know, this area. You know, say if you were, like, shopping and you were going outside your favorite store, like, what would it be like if people were just camped out laying around on the ground, you know, just sleeping there? You probably wouldn't like that. So we have rules, we have ordinances, and we do that. Why? So we can keep the environment beautiful, and so we can make this place a safe place. But also, if we were all to rely on government, you know, some governments go bad, and the government may not be the answer for everybody, because you know what? We need people to make the money, and we need to create business too. And it's important that we keep the entrepreneur spirit alive, and that these businesses are free to come into the country and make profits and have employees, and not have too many regulations, because if you put too many regulations, you basically put people out of business. So there's balance, and balance isn't very important. But you know what, when you let one side control everything, especially like in California and other states where they have liberals controlling it, things can go, you know, just go by the wayside. I wanted to tell you a really quick story. I was angry about 6 years ago. I was dating a liberal. I didn't know he was a liberal. He said he was a Republican. And anyway, during the relationship, you know, a lot of my money was missing, my jewelry was missing, and found out that this guy that was claiming to be a conservative didn't work, and he didn't have a job, and he was a liberal. And he just wreaked havoc on my life with his lying and his stealing. By the time I figured out what was going on, I was down quite a bit of money, and things were missing around the house. So anyway, I kicked him to the curb, got out of here, you know, and he's gone. But long story short, this kid came from a very well-to-do family. Parents made good money, and he just felt this grand sense of entitlement. Entitlement is like you just feel like maybe if you don't have something, that somebody else's something should be yours, you know, like a lot of my gold jewelry that went missing. You know, he felt like when things got lean, you know, he can just hawk my jewelry and I wouldn't notice, and I wouldn't care. A lot of that was sentimental stuff that my mom had given me before she passed away. But long story short, it's like you would be mad if somebody stolen from you. You would be upset if you found it's a betrayal of trust that happens. And that's basically what I feel the left does with the right. The people that work, and they work hard, are having to pay for the people that choose not to. And it's a sense of stealing in that sense. And say if people are coming into the country illegally, and they're not even supposed to be here, oh, what about the parents getting separated from the kids? I mean, when we break a law, when we break something, or we commit a crime, do we like get the special treatment, like we get to stay in a cell with our kids? You know, no, we get separated from our kids. In fact, if we do something stupid in this country, because I did CASA work, and CASA is a court-appointed special advocate, we do something stupid, you know, your kid gets taken away from you, and you have to go through classes and all this stuff to get your kid back, and they give your kids to strangers to raise in this country. And we're going to expect the illegal aliens that come from another country to get like special treatment after they've broken the law to come here. Maybe if you treat them the way they treat us when we break into their country, maybe they won't break into our country anymore. So if they're upset or they are put out by it, well, too fucking bad, because you know what, where do we fucking get off thinking that we just have to accommodate every single person that comes in here and breaks the law to come into our country? And if that were the case, we wouldn't have a country left. And so I just want to say, you know, whether you're Hispanic or Greek or Russian or English or wherever the fuck you're coming from, you're an American first, right? So if you're not an American, you don't have a right to come in here and break the laws and just get special treatment. And if you're going to make a political agenda out of doing that, then you don't deserve being in public office, because as a public official, your job description is to serve the American people, not the illegal aliens. And those illegal aliens are not your constituents. They're not your problem. And I know this might sound cold and cold-hearted and stuff like that, but if you're sitting there thinking it's okay to carry an illegal alien, or many of them from other countries, why you kill grandma over there for, you know, not wanting to put a pacemaker in, or not run a test to see if she has cancer, or not prescribe a certain drug that could save her life, or give her a few extra years with her family, then I think that's just BS, you know. And you have a lot of people, you know, in this area that are relying on us to do the right thing. And you have Bill Nelson, who has been in office for 30 years. And what has he done? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing for this county. And in fact, you know, I've seen the taxes going up, you know, in the last few years since he's been here, and I don't like it. And personally, I don't think that we're getting anything for our money, because I just feel like he's really been a huge disappointment, and he needs to go. And I think that the person that's going to take over, the one that was the governor, did a damn good job here for us. And he was a great governor, and he'll make an even better senator, because he'll be able to do some wonderful things for this place and make America great and make Florida great, because you know what? That's what it's all about. It's not about making Mexico great. You know what? Mexico has their own troubles, and if we were to sit there and care about every single country around the world, we wouldn't have a country left. So that was the problem that we had with Obama and Bush. And now we're taking back some of the control to balance the budget so our kids can have a better future, but also we're taking care of the people that gave us life, that brought us into the world, which are our grandparents and our parents. And you know what? Those are the people that we need to be caring about, not some freaking illegal border hoppers. With that said, you guys have a blessed Father's Day, and God bless.